Hi, thank you for tuning in. It's gorgeous, gorgeous day out there today, isn't it? This week has been uh, particularly refreshing. If you caught last week's, I was on vacation, and while I was going to do a whole video and meet my commitments and everything, I decided I needed to play. And I often think that sometimes the way I'm living my life becomes an example about how, I don't know, to navigate. I certainly don't know the best way to do everything, but the process that and the way that I come to seems to be helpful for people. So I thought it was a good message to extend out that play is so important, and that when we allow ourselves to be in that spontaneous, fill life up with the fun stuff mode, it goes out exponentially. I really believe that it helps other people too. So, hey, John Kroll, he's still at the beach. Or should I not tell people that? See, no edit button. Vicky didn't get an edit button. I have a filter, but not really an edit button. So today, what I thought I'd cover is a question actually that I've gotten a couple times in the last few weeks. And then today I've done 4 or 5 sessions already, and 2 people brought it up. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna run with this one. So it's basically the idea of, what does an intuitive coach do anyway? Oh, hi, I'm glad you get to tune in live. And that you guys are bringing your energy, and John's representing us with the beach energy. That's so cool. So what does an intuitive coach do? Well, I can't speak for all of them, but I can speak for myself in that basically what I provide, I think, is a guidance system to point out where not only the energy, but your life and your thinking and the way that you're going about things may be out of alignment or may not be benefiting you the most. Because you know how we're really good at telling our own stories, and how when you're in something you can't really see the whole picture, and you can't always come to solutions. I mean, that's why having friends who give you honest feedback, and having a coach or a therapist, or someone you can bounce things off of, is so vitally important. And it used to be that we had the elders in our world that weren't all impressed with who we were, and they kept our fat heads in check. So part of my role, I feel, is not only to reflect back to you your greatness, but also to hold that space of, you really think that's a good idea? And if you do, let's look at a way of getting there that will benefit not only you, but whatever's going out, whatever you're trying to present to the world. So from a coaching perspective, what happens is we navigate what you're wanting to create in your life, how you want to feel, because that's really important. And then, do you even have a clear picture? And I'm great with the I don't know, or I feel stuck and I'm not sure what to do with this. I love a challenge. So that to me is kind of fun, actually. So, Amy, the intuitive reading part, and this is what was coming up. This is the question that has been presented a couple times this week, or the last couple weeks, was often people will say that they're just waiting for whatever I've seen in their screen, on their screen, in their energy field to come true. Um, that's not going to work because even though I can see future events, I don't have a magic wand, and I wouldn't wave the magic wand even if I did, because that takes away from the process that someone goes through, and that's how you learn, right? That's how you learn to walk. You've had to fall on your fanny a few times. So the statements that were going back to me, and I've heard these before, they're not new statements, is, well, that thing didn't happen yet. And my response to one of the people was, well, did you get off your ass? Because if you didn't, then don't come reporting to me that my screen is broken or what I saw wasn't true. I believe in what I see, and I have enough of a track record that things tend to pan out. Yeah, sometimes the timing can be funky, but as soon as the spirit world gets a clock, that'll be easier, or a calendar. Calendar would be good. We get a calendar, that'd be great, guys. So part of receiving a reading from whomever you go to, whether it's someone who used the term intuitive, which to me means I read from the soul level. Psychic tends to mean that you only read what's going on here and now, and I don't think that's of service to people unless you can't find your flipping keys, and then it's of great service. But the aspect of working with someone and going for a reading, you need to know that it's a team effort. You're bringing your energy into the situation, and to be open to the interpretation or the direction or what's flat out coming up on the screen. For me, I work very what's called clairsentiently. So I feel what's happening, and then it becomes a clairvoyant experience in which I get a picture inside my head. So if everybody thinks of your backyard or your living room right now. Okay, got the picture? So that's the way it comes in clairvoyantly. It's not this, I say it's a screen, but it's not an external screen, obviously. But the way when you have that picture in your head, that recollection of what your space looks like, that's what it looks like to me clairvoyantly. And then what I do is I have learned to I don't see the room anymore when I'm looking at that. It dissipates. And then your experience goes by a bit like if you were scrolling through your phone looking for a picture, okay, but very quickly. And then I just grab what's important energetically to you. It's not that it's not important to me, but it's not my life. So I feel like my role is to discuss whatever's going on for you at that point. So the couple of people, it was a mixed experience for me. Some people were coaching clients long enough that they could reflect that what I help them do is to learn themselves better. And that would be my goal for everyone, whether you come in for a one-time session or if we have an ongoing relationship through coaching. So this intuitive aspect is helpful. But if you don't have the other skills to help somebody identify what's not lining up in their life, and I think if you don't have the guts to be able to say, well, that sounds like an excuse. I'm compassionate when it comes to a belief, but if you're giving me an excuse, I'm gonna call you on it because I feel like that helps you be in your great self, because we all know when we're giving ourselves an excuse. We know it. And I think we have to enhance that brilliance in order to be more honest with ourselves and then to help others. So a couple of years ago, I was getting this response as well from people. And I know something within myself was evoking that, right? Because we're magnets. So if something is showing up in our life, we have to look at what kind of frequency or resonance are we giving out that it's showing up in a repetitive message, and then take responsibility for what that is. So a few years ago, probably about late 2014, early 2015, I decided I only wanted to work with the people who wanted to do their work. And I realized that sounds pompous, and that's okay. I have put in the work and the time and the effort and the trainings in order to set that precedent for myself. I didn't make any big announcement. I made it energetically. And what that does is it shifted my experience to start bringing in more of the coaching clients that realize I don't have a magic wand. I can move energy really well, but I don't have a magic wand for your life. You do. I can teach you how to use your skill sets, and I can help you learn how to best tame that magic wand so you're not setting things on fire or creating chaos in your own life. But it's still going to be up to you to practice, and it's still going to be up to you to, as one of my clients says, I love this expression when she says it, can we put a verb in it? And I asked her if I could borrow that. So I love that expression of, can we create an action from it? So it doesn't do a darn bit of good for me to be able to see your best course of action if you're not willing to be brave enough to take some steps forward. So by attracting to myself the clients who are willing to look at their own stuff, do the work, whatever vernacular you want to use, it amped up and it asked me to grow more, and it asked me to develop more skills. And I'm using myself as an example because that's what I have, but we can do this in our lives, and you guys can do it in every effort that you're putting forth. Do you want to learn to be a better listener? Do you want to enhance your own business? What's going on there? What about the people that you're hanging out with? Do you want that to shift? Like, are you finding yourself a little turned off by how people speak or how they're acting? Are they disrespectful? And you're realizing that, maybe 2 days ago that was okay, but something has changed and that's no longer okay. I would want you to acknowledge that and be proud of yourself, because that's the growth that happens. So using myself as an example, I started realizing that working with those that just wanted to come in, sit in the chair, have me tell them a pretty story of what their life could be, and then they leave, number one, it felt disingenuous to me that I was taking money. I truly told them what I saw and what I believed. But then it was so anticlimactic, because if you see somebody 6 months, a year later, and they're like, I'm still in the process, like, what's going on? It gets to be a little boring, quite frankly. So the type of people who started coming in were those like yourselves who are tuning in now, who are asking, what can I change within myself? And is there some information that she might hold? I'm fine holding the position of information. I have an insatiable curiosity, and I love that about myself. And if I have information, I want to share it. I don't think we should keep it unless it's about a surprise party or something. Keep that to yourself. Don't ruin the surprise. So typically I work with those who have some knowing within themselves that they have greatness, but they just can't remember where they put it, or that they want to achieve a certain position. I work with a lot of business owners because when you're doing most of the facets of business, that self-awareness and growth can be difficult to carve out the time for. So sometimes I bring the fast track to that. And what that allows them to do is maybe shift the business, maybe offer a different product. Maybe their mission statement needs to be reworked. Maybe the organization, because I love organization, maybe that's something that just needs some attending to. And that's where the intuitive part comes in handy, but that's also where having your own business for 18 years comes in handy. And I have a lot of people who understand that they are intuitive, and again, they just don't know how to work the gifts that they've been given, and that they've cultivated over lifetimes, and perhaps could use a little manual. So part of today's offering is to clarify a little bit that when you come in for a session, we can absolutely talk about what you would like to see in your life. I'll tell you what I see, but there's going to be some verbs used. There's going to be some of me asking you, how do you feel when the situation happens? What's the emotion behind that? Do you feel like you don't deserve the happiness? Like, is that why you're getting in your own way? Um, there can be some pointed questions, but I don't know about you, but the whole dancing around thing and platitudes and sugarcoating, I think we're ready for honesty, authenticity, clarity, and it's just with ourselves. And if someone can bring that, and it can help us to arrive in a place that we like ourselves maybe that much sooner, isn't that kind of cool? So, when I'm working with someone, they are always in charge of what direction they want to take in their life, or what we might be working on that day. Always in charge of that. It can divert if I feel it's like I bump up against a wall when somebody's talking and they're giving me words, but the emotion and the energy that's underneath it, they're telling themselves a story. I will feel like I bumped into a wall. And while I'm listening to you, I'm also looking for, okay, how do we get around that wall? Do we need to carve a door? Is there a belief system that's so ingrained that they can't even hear themselves saying it anymore? And we have a lot of them. It's not a horrible thing. I actually think it's a lot of fun to figure out what are the beliefs that are in there, and can we maybe repurpose them and raise the vibration of where we are. So an example would be like if someone comes in and they just want to talk about how their partner, be it in business or in relationship, is getting on their last nerve and they can't stand them anymore. It's not about the partner, no matter how annoying their behavior is. It's about admitting to yourself that you've maybe changed your description and your awareness of who you'd like to be with, or what works for you anymore. And maybe it's scary to say that this isn't working anymore, and that you're shifting. But I think it's also important to recognize that if we don't shift, if we don't grow, we become miserable SOBs. So getting excited about that and having someone who holds a belief in you, and I believe that's my job, that I hold the belief that you're capable of anything that we're talking about. You are absolutely capable. You may not know how to use all the tools, and maybe you haven't installed some of the programs. That's fine. We'll work on that. So the real gift in coaching with anyone, not simply myself, but with anyone, is learning who you are and being good with all of the the special sauce that makes you who you are, and then how you contribute to the world. But if you're not willing to do the work, or at least hear that you're responsible for where your life is, and then hear the excitement in that, right? If you take responsibility of where your life is right now, you can then take some action and be excited about what could possibly manifest, come to fruition. And the more we move forward energetically, universally, as an expanded consciousness, this is not ebbing anymore. We've had our get used to being human time. This is where we are advancing and even escalating our own awareness of all of the many aspects it takes to be in this human experience. So I really feel like if people don't start listening and don't start taking responsibility, which simply means to respond to your life, right? Don't think of it as something that's heavy to take responsibility. It really does mean to just respond. Have a conscious thought. Please have a conscious thought. Life could get extremely conflicted and challenging and not move forward if you don't start looking at how could I respond and how do I want to respond in my life. I was talking with somebody yesterday, and and I trip over my words sometimes because my head moves faster, believe it or not, than my mouth does. And I was saying to her, well, you have a choice, right, of having spunk and having courage and the bravery to be able to say, I want to change. We're always going to be changing, so you may as well get used to that line. And then, so that spunk, if it isn't listened to, people become punks. And she pointed out, she's like, you're just dropping an S. I said, I am. Or adding an S. Like, if you're acting like a punk, if you're acting pompous and know-it-all or miserable and bitchy or any of those other words, what you're really doing is you're in your punk self. And if you just added some belief in you and you cleared up some of the debris, you could bring that S back in and you could have spunk about your life. And that's where it's being lit up, right? So here's another bumper sticker. You can choose to be a punk or you can choose to have spunk. Which one do you want? And part of entering into a coaching relationship is that you have someone who believes in you. If you have a good coach, you have someone who believes in you, holds a ground of pointing out when you might be crossing over the having spunkiness into punkiness. So hold the spunk, hold that excitement for life, but don't be a jerk. And if you don't listen to yourself, inevitably you will become miserable. It just has to happen that way. So maybe you can have compassion for people that you meet who are so miserable, and the ones that look like they've been sucking on a lemon for a week. They're just tight and cranky and everything is everybody else's fault. They're channeling their inner punk. They forgot where they put their spunk, and they could use a little bit of compassion and acceptance and pointed statement kindly to remind them of their greatness. So bottom line, if you'd like to come in for usually the intuitive readings are a one-time and they lead to the coaching, happy to have you. Yeah, there is a waiting period, but that's good. It means I know what I'm doing, I think. I think that I know what I'm doing. I think when it's booked up, it tells people I know what I'm doing, was my I think there. But just know, if you're coming in for the intuitive part, when you leave, whatever happens is up to you. When you walk out that door, you need to walk out feeling like you maybe have a game plan or something that you can work on. If you turn around a couple months later and say something didn't happen, regardless of whom you've gone to for a session, that was not on the person you were meeting with, that's on you. So take that responsibility, take that joy, and get excited about your life. I feel like the potential that we have, each and every one of us, is so much greater than we can realize, that we do need those mirrors, those reflections back. So that's my Friday. Rambling today, but yeah, as you know, I tend to take these things from my own life, and when I see those things repetitively, I feel like it brings it out. And there are some changes that are happening in my business. If you're calling to make an appointment, you're going to be talking to Tracy. She books all of my sessions now, unless you're a coaching client, I do those. But if you're coming in for the one-off, you can either go to the website or you can talk to Tracy, and she's lovely. She will get you in. She's much more responsive on those telephone calls than I am, so it's a good thing. And as I start shifting my own business to doing more that you will be able to partake in from your own comfort of your chairs at home or on a run or in the car, I hope that you'll send in any ideas that you would like me to teach on, talk about, offer up, so that we can keep this collaborative going, because we learn from people in our lives. And the clients that I've been so grateful to know, and the people in community, and all of the Facebook and Instagram and all those other places that I just get to meet the coolest people. That contributes to where my own coaching goes. So I want to express my gratitude to that. But please send me anything that you'd like to talk on. If I don't know about it, I'll let you know. I'm not going to talk about something I don't have some knowledge of. Probably go research it, but I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And thank you all for tuning in. And how about for this week that you start asking yourself, where is it that I would like to grow? What is it that I would like to change? Is there someone in my life who can help me with that? Is there a book? Is there a course? Do I just need some quiet time so I can hear myself and my guides and the help in the universe? But set an intention this week that you're going to grow somewhere, all right? And meet it, because it's in the meeting it that it will take on more and more energy, right? And you'll start to really be proud of yourself. That's important too. So thank you so much. Hope you have a good time. John, enjoy the beach for us. And talk to you soon.